Hello, I'm so excited to be sharing with you today our Little House box set. The reason why is because this one sits on our own personal home library shelf. In fact, we have two sets, one for our own personal set, and then I bought another set for our daughter. I'll tell you why. Because I read through all 9 novels to the children, read aloud, and then I read them all through again a second time. And our daughter loved it so much that I eventually just bought her own very personal private box set. So we have 2 sets, and it's been of great value, and that's why I'm excited to share it with you, because let me tell you that it went out of print for a while, which was rather sad. But now it's back in print, and I'm going to be showing you the new back in print Little House box set in this little treasure pack over here. I did just want to start by showing you our own personal set. It's a little bit faded and tired now because it has been well read, but we just have loved this Little House box set, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm just going to put this one aside now so I can show you what the current Little House box set looks like. So here we have it. I'm going to unwrap this so you can see what you're going to get if you were to order yourself a Little House box set. So you're going to receive your Little House box set like this, and then open it. Okay, it's very exciting. And let us see what we've got inside here. The first 4 years. And that's number 9 actually. So let's start with number 1 at the bottom. And the first book that we have, the numbers on the side of the book, is The Little House in the Big Woods. This entire series is written by Laura Ingalls Wilder, the author, and it's all about the Ingalls family when Laura was born. So it's like a historic chronicle of her life, starting from her birth all the way through to her married life and her own family. And so basically, you could say that it's a book on pioneering. All of them are books on pioneering because they were set in the time of pioneering days. In fact, this family even went in a covered wagon through the prairie to find a place to settle. And the reason why they've been very valuable and treasured to us is the fact that there's like a golden thread of family values that runs all the way through the entire series. Our children were learning morals and values such as helpfulness. An example of that is there was a fire that broke out, and the father of the home was away from home at the time getting supplies. And so the neighbor came in to help. And so there was the friendliness of the neighbor and the support and the help of that and the value of that. In fact, Laura's mother said at that time, after the neighbor had gone, there's no better thing as good neighbors. So there's just a lot of the little values sprinkled all the way through. That's why I call it like a golden thread of family values that just run all the way through all of these stories. The other thing about them is that it's a character rich. So there's a lot of different characters you get to know. Laura's frail sister, for example, the challenges with that and how the family have to pull together. In fact, it's very strongly about a family pulling together and going through very many trials. So their whole crop got eaten by locusts, for example, very real trials of daily living, and how they conquered and overcame those various trials that came their way. But of course, there's also the happy moments and the lovely family memories, and Pa, as they fondly called him, playing his fiddle and lifting everybody's spirits when it was required. So I'm just hoping that you've discovered already, by just so far what I've shared with you, how precious they are and why they become a treasure to us, and why we're so excited that we can actually offer them to you now after they've been out of print for this time. Okay, I'd like to show you what you're going to get in your little box set. Okay, so let me just start with book number 1, being Little House in the Big Woods. This book is all about them building their home. And then we've got Farmer Boy. Farmer Boy actually was one of the most favorite books. There was a part in here about how they fed their pumpkin milk and how their pumpkin was the biggest pumpkin, and they won the pumpkin contest at the local fair. I might have my facts wrong. It's a long time ago that I read it, but I just remember that being one of the aspects in the story that stuck with us. Okay, then we've got The Little House on the Prairie, book 3. And then On the Banks of Plum Creek. I'm not going to give it all away and tell you what's inside the content of each story, because they're just so wonderful to read as a read aloud to your family. And as I've said already, that you can actually use many examples of here to teach family values and morals and ethics. And it might be very historic, it might be set in the late 1800s, but I don't think we can say that there's not a time that we can actually gain something from those pioneer days. In fact, people are still pioneering in today's world. It's not as if pioneering days are over. And there's just a lot of very valuable character traits that can be taught from and learned from these books, from reading them aloud to your children or them reading them themselves. Okay, then the next one is By the Shores of Silver Lake. That is number 5. And then we've got The Long Winter. This one was most definitely one of teaching about trials and how to endure and how to overcome. All right, and then The Little Town on the Prairie is book number 7. All right, and then The Happy Golden Years. I'm not going to give any tips into what that one's about. You can read it and find out. And then The First 4 Years. I think the cover, the picture, the illustration on the cover will give it away a little. And there are our 9 Little House on the Prairie books. As you can see, they're not skinny little books, other than the very last one is the thinnest one, but most of them are a fair size. The average number of pages in each book is going to be around 280. That's what this one is. And they're all going to be around 270 to Farmer Boy being the thickest one. You may wonder what age a child can read this on their own, for themselves, by themselves. I would say, well, what they have suggested, it's for ages 8 to 12. However, the later you get your children to read these, the better, because of the fact that if they're younger, they're not going to get the value of all the morals that would be taught to them through reading the series. Obviously, the more mature they are, the more meaningful it's going to be, and we hope that those seeds are going to be planted in their hearts as we experience them happening in our own family. In fact, that is why I would like to encourage you to read them aloud first. As we have done, we read them all aloud, as I've shared before, and then our daughter got her own set and read them for herself. At the time, our son wasn't reading them because he was reading through another set of books at the time that our daughter was reading through these. But even so, he still got the value of the read aloud aspect of us reading these books aloud as a family. And so I'm going to encourage you to do the same. This is a nice to have. I know it's just a very big treat to have 9 novels, but as I've explained to us, the value of it has been just so worth it, to the point that I even actually got a second set. So I hope you're going to find value in these books. I know we have done. I could go on and on and on about many more elements and aspects about this series that is just of great worth. But I'm going to leave it there and just encourage you to spoil yourself and to get this book set for your family. We do also have them, in case it's too much of an outlay all at once, we also have them on the site as individual books. Clearly, if you're going to buy them in that way and just slowly get all the way to book 9, it's going to be more costly to do it that way, because we have managed to reduce the price and putting them all together in a special collection like this. But you can also buy them individually if you want to. I think the saving isn't huge in buying them in a set versus buying them individually, so you can do the sums and work out which is going to work for your budget. But I do hope you don't hesitate in actually getting them, simply because they have been read by thousands and thousands of families around the world. And that wouldn't be the case if there wasn't something of great worth and value in them. So I hope you're going to find that great worth and value in them, and you're going to enjoy your little house box set. I'm just so happy and excited that we've been able to put it back in print for you and make it available ongoing. We're going to really do our utmost to not let it go out of print ever again, because they are so precious. So thank you for watching while I've shared with you one of our favorite little treasures in our personal home library.